This recipe is definitely gonna come from our Ligma gangsters. You guys have my personal email, and thank you for keeping it so clean. Carl from Boston is sharing his mother's 1954 recipe, and it was written on a Hunt's tomato can sauce label. His mother is turning 91. Happy birthday, ma'am. If by the time you're 100 and I still don't have a girlfriend, can you adopt me into your family? And Carl gave us the recipe on these like postcards and stuff. Here are all the ingredients in a picture. And you already know Carl's from Boston because damn, this looks icy. So just like a deep dish pizza, this is essentially it's a casserole. The first layer is rice. Carl uses minute rice. I'm using 45-minute rice. Then we're supposed to add a little water and then corn. But I'm just gonna add straight up corn and the corn water. A can of Hunt's tomato sauce, half a can of water, a layer of chopped onions, green bell pepper, black corn pepper, and some ground beef, which Carl calls it hamburg. We'll season the hamburg very well. Another can of sauce, now a quarter can of water, and the top layer will be halved bacon all over. Cover with foil into the oven at 350 for an hour. It's starting to look really good, just like the sweatshirt I'm wearing. Back into the oven for 30 minutes. Looking so much better after the bacon crisped up a little bit. Smelling very good, as you can see on my shirt. Let's give it a taste, and a rate of 1 through 10. The flavors are so simple, American, but work so well. You got the aromatics, beef, bacon, and the comforting corn flavor all sitting on a bed of rice. Definitely something I can see myself eating every day. I'll give it an 8.8 out of 10. Guys, remember like a month ago, Uncle Roger reacted to our fried rice video and got roasted so hard I thought I was gonna be the turkey for Thanksgiving this year.
This nephew talked like he had 1% battery. Uncle Roger feel like I need to find charger for you. Just sounds so miserable. Are you sure you need fried rice? Uncle Roger think what you need is reason to live.
This is all really funny teasing and all, but he says something that got to me personally. A lot of effort into it, so I'm gonna...
Yeah, if only you put as much effort into your merch.
That hurts because he's completely right. So I got my act together and came up with 2 brand new items. With the help from a lot of channel members, the sweatshirt and long sleeve actually have really good quality. Besides the cute Ligma fork on top, the inside lining is super like fuzzy and cozy, and the cotton of the long sleeve is pretty much like heavy cream on your skin, bro. The center design of both items is perfect for you to throw on an open jacket, looking very stylish and stuff. It's available today. You should check it out in the link in the description. This is called a meat pie and Michigan sauce. It's French-Canadian, but Sarah's family is from upstate New York, near the border of Quebec. I've lived in Ithaca. Upstate New York is alright. Apparently, you have to boil the ground pork with some sage and then bake it, finally top it off with the Michigan sauce, which is like mostly ketchup. I'm gonna add my own twist to this recipe. It's gonna taste similar. All this ground pork laid into the bowl. Instead of boiling it to make it really dry, we'll season it thoroughly to bake it into a pie. Do you like that rhyme, bro? Pepper, paprika, onion, salt, and ketchup. We'll fill out a pre-made pie crust from the Pillsbury Murder's Doughboy, and for some reason, it just feels right to top it with a layer of cheese. Who needs cheese? So overrated. Bake in the oven at 350 till golden. I now see why Sarah asked us to boil the pork before. Maybe it could have dried it out a little bit. No need to mention, you can already tell it's kinda soggy. I keep forgetting how juicy pork is. I'm sure the original recipe is great, but I changed it so much, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. Jeremy over here is from China. He's introducing us to 2 dishes. Tomato egg.
Choose joy. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Copilot, write talking points based on the product overview document. And create a chart using our audience data. Also, draft 5 social posts.
And mantou. So obviously we're gonna go with the mantou. 120 grams of AP flour, half a teaspoon of instant yeast, 65 grams of lukewarm milk, half a tablespoon of sugar. Just combine everything and knead the dough for like a really long time and rest it for even longer. Almost more than 2 hours of resting. Fold it a little bit and the surface is still super crusty. Like my face. On top of a parchment paper, we'll start steaming it. Gentle heat, I don't know how long, so I'll go for 15. Now it looks like it has stretch marks. Like my ass. It looks sort of light and fluffy, I guess. When we split it open, it bounces right back. It's alright, that's all I can say. It tastes like a burger bun without the crust. I feel like it'll serve as a great canvas for something that's super flavorful and strong. But by itself, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. This is an Australian mac and cheese, and Sasuke really wants that smoke because the main ingredient of this mac and cheese sauce is smoky cheese. Whatever seasoning I desire. I like that sentence. The smoky cheese I'm going with today is this huge block of Sogoni cheese. Usually when people come over, they bring me Sogoni, fresh or smoked. Fresh to make kachipuri, of course. The smoked ones, I don't really know how to use it up, so I'm gonna do it here. The only other ingredient for the sauce is evaporated milk. The concept of milk and evaporating reminds me of my dad. We'll lay down our pasta for the mac and cheese. I think corkscrew is the best shape for mac and cheese. In goes the shredded Sogoni, mix it up, another layer. And on top I'm gonna season with smoked paprika, garlic, and oregano. We'll just bake till the top is golden. You can broil it if you want. And my apartment kind of smells like my clothes after a camping trip. The smokiest mac and cheese I've ever made. Let's give it a taste. It's a nice change of pace from the normal super cheesy creamy pasta. Smoked cheeses are usually a little dry. The sauce feels a lot lighter. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It is the soup I'm obsessed with ever since I saw the Pickle Rick episode, Solenia. It is a pickle soup with meat in it, has a sour flavor profile. And this one is supposed to be like a super authentic one. Things to chop include onions, black olives. I actually really like it. And the recipe said beef on the bone. I don't have that, but I have beef franks that kind of look like bones. So I'll chop that up along with some sausage. Into a hot pan with some oil, start sauteing the onions. Once you see some color, we'll put in the beef on the bone. Beef on the bone follows that. And then black olives, pickle slices, saute everything together to get it really hot. Then deglaze with a little bit of white wine, fill it up with beef stock. We're supposed to saute with some tomato paste at the end. I don't have that, but I'm replacing it with some pizza sauce. And I assure you, if you ask any Slavic grandma about Solenia, these substitutions are acceptable. After 10 minutes, we'll take it out. Wow. This might even be a little too questionable for me. I totally forgot to get sour cream. But you know what else is creamy and sour? My buttermilk. I guess it's leaving fried chicken for the first time to go straight into my Solenia. Well, I've always liked sour food, so I might be a little biased. We make some sort of pickle soup from the Slavic region every single time we do this video series. This one's definitely the best one so far, just the complexity of flavor and the texture of the ingredients. I wish I had sour cream though. Even without it, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you to all the members that support this channel and inspire us with your story. If you want to be a part of it, join through the link below. Non-member submissions who I appreciate to the same amount. This one from Wayland, Florida is called Sausage Balls. Basically, we mix up sausage, cheese, and Bisquick and bake it. So as always, we gotta start with stroking the sausage to get it to come out of the casing. Shredded Kobe Jack and Bisquick as the binder. It's looking a little dry, so I'm gonna add a splash of my roommate's milk, and then we'll combine everything together. I'm just glad the mixture is not brown. Bake for 350 at golden brown. It looks like a piece of poorly fried chicken, but it smells like a greatly fried chicken. I'm starting to warm up to it, so let's give it a taste. It tastes like a perfectly baked sausage roll, except somebody chewed it up for you and fed it into your mouth like a mama bird. I say that in the nicest way possible.
In the nicest way possible.
Sure, you could say that after any sentence. I'd like to murder you in the nicest way possible.
Overall, this is a great hack. Very easy to make. Tastes great. 9 out of 10. I might start making it regularly for breakfast. Elena is from Alaska. Her grandma made a lot of depression recipes, one of them being poor man's chow mein.
Ah, now that was some fantastic chow mein. And before you say that sounded racist, you can ask the waiter how they say it.
She said it's a simple dish, but I gotta follow the instructions to a T or it turns out gross. What are you insinuating here about my instruction following skills, Elena? We're starting by browning on medium-high heat a pound of ground meat. I'm using the leftover pork and beef from earlier because I'm a sustainable boy like that. Then we'll brown some onion, garlic, and a lot of Cajun spices. After sauteing it for a little bit, we'll add a whole can of condensed cream of mushroom. We'll pour on top half a cup of white rice, followed by a whole cup of beef stock. We'll stir that in all thoroughly, add a little more liquid if you feel like you need it, into the oven at 350 for 50 minutes. After 50 minutes, the rice is almost cooked. At this point, you're probably wondering, isn't this called Alaskan chow mein? Where the noodle at? So here comes the last step. We're gonna crumble like a cup of egg noodle. I don't have that, so I'm gonna use a whole packet of instant noodle. The final layer of cheddar, uncovered back in for 10 minutes. Never thought I'd say this, but I prefer the Alaskan chow mein more than the Chinese ones. On a separate note, I never really got the point of chow mein, you know. I feel like noodles just begging for like a bowl of soup to go with it. Why would you stir fry noodles when you have rice to fry? I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10 only because I put too much Cajun seasoning into it. You should definitely give it a try. Owen from SoCal is teaching us traditional baked pineapple, a dish that's been passed down from his mom's family. You know what I noticed about these recipes? Everybody's recipe and cooking memories come from their mom's side or sometimes grandma. Nobody talks about, oh, here's a great recipe from my dad. Are all Future Canoe subscribers' dad's signature dish evaporated milk? Anyways, we're starting with a can of crushed pineapple, 1 egg, a 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. We'll mix that up and we're pretty much ready to assemble after this. We'll lay down a couple pieces of bread at the bottom of the baking dish, pour melted butter on top to let it soak in, and half the pineapple egg mixture. Another layer of bread and butter, we'll repeat it. We'll fix the appearance a little bit, bake for 30. You know, it doesn't look that great, but it tastes pretty amazing. It tastes like a tropical custard bread pudding. Considering how easy it was to put together, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Cindy from West Virginia's mountain mama is German, so we're gonna learn some sauerkraut balls. Basically, we just gotta put all these together. Cream cheese, mustard, sausage, oregano. And then I have to crush a bunch of saltine crackers to coat it and then deep fry. I'm also gonna put it in the freezer for a while because this is a little too soft. Gonna have to shut down the frying operation because it is splattering everywhere. I know I butchered the recipe a lot, but all the ingredients still sound good, so let's give it a taste. It's like deep fried ice cream but salty. Yeah, I definitely messed this one up. The sauerkraut. Wait, did I put sauerkraut in it? Tyler's great-grandma used to make these Canadian chocolate coconut macarons. That sounds really good. Been passed down the family, and they're actually not macarons. In Canada, they call it the fuddle doodle. Like how you guys want to see me fuddle my doodle.
Don't worry. Get the #1 ultra soft tissue that's allergist approved. Because allergies might test you more than finals. For whatever happens next. Grab Kleenex.
Like many others, I really believe that a good story makes food taste better. During the holiday season of 2024, I've been collecting family recipes from all of you, and I'm excited to share those with everybody today. Most of these recipes are very unique, so get ready to go to Funky Town. Unusualness already kicked in as the first footage of the Future Canoe video being broccoli. That's like opening the hub and seeing a motivational speech. Starting again in the USA category, as I mentioned before in the struggle meal video, the sequence and selection of these recipes is based on my channel analytics. It's not that I don't want to explore other cuisines, I just gotta give the people what they want since my self-esteem is dependent on view count. Emma here from the US of A suggested a family recipe of a pizza omelet quiche type of thing. Her grandma tried to make a quiche. She was off her rockers because she forgot her meds. Sounds like a great grandma. And she thought it was a pizza crust, and then she turned it into a pizza. I mean, turning anything into a pizza sounds like a great idea, but the recipe seems easy enough. It's just like a pretty standard quiche in a mixture, baked into a pie crust, and then topping it off with pizza toppings. She only gave the ingredients, no measurements, so I'm just gonna improvise. For some chopped up broccoli and chives, I'm gonna add in 1/4 cup of cream cheese, 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Most quiche recipes calls for heavy cream, so I think you can use that as well. We'll season it with salt and pepper, mix that up a little bit. She calls for 5 eggs, which is like 1/2 dozen. I don't even know if this recipe tastes good, so this is a risk I'm unwilling to take, especially in this economy. I feel like our dairy products are already doing half of the job. Plus the batter just need to coagulate for the pizza topping later. Also, I feel like nobody takes quiche seriously, you know? I've never met a person that wakes up one day and go, I'm gonna make myself a quiche Lorraine. But anyways, this goes into a 350-degree oven for 35 minutes. I'm glad we didn't add those 3 extra eggs. Probably overflow this pie crust. Next step, following the process of making a pizza with a layer of sauce, cheese, and pepperoni. In addition, to take it to the next level, Emma also asked us to put bits of sausage on top. I mean, I'm always up to take down a nice thick Italian to spice up the pie. Extra 15 minutes in the oven. This is the first thing I cooked today. I haven't eaten anything and it smells so good. While waiting, I was gonna go back to bed just to catch up on some sleep, but I couldn't handle the stomach growling. I guess this is really like a deep dish with eggs and vegetables in it. And let's give it a taste and rate 1 through 10. It has the complete flavor profile of a deep dish, but it doesn't feel like the second bite's gonna take it apart. So it really needs to towards pizza, the texture towards quiche. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, starting strong. If this is what Emma's grandma created when she's off her meds, I can't even begin to imagine how good the food is when she's on top of her game. By the way, it's the 2-year anniversary of our Future Canoe community. Here are 500 promo codes for 75% off on everything, plus free shipping. We gotta start 2025 on a good deal. Link in the description below. Our next recipe by Kevin from Georgia. That's where I get my peaches. Oh yeah, shit. But the family recipe is from Milwaukee. There's a great story attached to it. His great-grandfather was a World War II veteran, butcher, one of the first food safety inspectors. Kinda concerns me that we didn't have food safety inspectors before that. But his great-grandfather worked for Hormel, and in the Spam Museum in Minnesota, didn't know that existed, has a small mention of his name due to his contribution to furthering food safety via air travel. That's some insane information. His great-grandfather is part of making Spam fly across the globe, which is the representation of the American globalization and the rise of a superpower. If I were Kevin, I'll be telling this story about my great-grandfather every time I see a can of Spam. And the recipe is actually pretty easy. You just grate some stuff and toast it. You only need 3 ingredients, a little more cheese. Everything would be grated, starting with the cheese. I'm using Gruyere here, but you can use any. I think Kevin suggested cheddar. We're doing the cheese first because it's the most messy, and the second messy would be the Spam. Oh yeah. This feels right. Finally, clean everything off the grater with spread happening. I'm glad I don't show face because I'm balling my eyes out. After we have all the shredded sections, we'll add in a little bit more of cheese. Mix it very thoroughly because this is going to be our topping. We'll lay down a couple pieces of toast. You see how I'm doing space management here. Then we'll just sprinkle, by sprinkle I mean pile, the onion, Spam, cheese mixture on top of the toast. The oven is on max broil. Kevin's brother likes it a little bit burnt on the side. It's a key theme of this channel will char it a little bit. It kind of reminds me of a tuna melt before you fold it together. It smells incredible. Everybody's attracted to the smell of cooked onion. We got a little cheese pull going on over here. Let's just fold it together like a pizza and take a bite. It's a little hard to describe. The texture is confusingly juicy. It's reminding me of a pulled pork sandwich, but you guys already know Spam tastes more like jello than meat. So to sum it up, it's basically the most tender pulled pork sandwich you ever taste in your life. And this is for the legacy of Spam and the legacy of Kevin's great-grandfather.
Tired of researching ingredients? We've done the homework. Our Walgreens Free and Pure products clearly say what the product is free from right on the package. No artificial flavors, no synthetic colors, gluten-free, and non-GMO.
I can't help but feel good. I can't help but feel fine.
Coming up, the taco ring from Alex is Dying here. That's actually how he introduced himself. And obviously the recipe starts with some taco meat. I'm pressing down the ground beef to get some color on there. I don't have taco seasoning, but I can season the taco with salt, pepper, garlic powder, some paprika, and cumin. We'll crumble that up, add our onions, and saute until everything's cooked through and combined. Whipping out the crescent dough tube. It's strange that I keep forgetting this since I practice so much. You really need to take off the wrapper before you pop the tube, and it goes everywhere. Here's a bigger sheet tray. All these triangles of dough, we gotta align them in a circle by layering in the corners together. All these triangles make a circle. All these triangles make a circle. Why do they have to make it so hard to maneuver this? This is a pretty underwhelming product if you ask me. The circle's finally done. It's shining like a sunflower. It looks like I made it perfectly, but sat on it. We will stuff our meat into the taco. We'll even out the distribution of meat and then take a corner, like a petal of the flour, and then just tuck it down there. We'll do that to all the corners. Doesn't look as bad as I expected. We'll bake at 350 for 25 minutes. This looks very close to the original picture that Kevin gave us. So I'm assuming crescent is supposed to imitate a croissant, but I don't see any flakiness going on. It looks like it's cooked through. It smells a little bit like a croissant. Let's give it a taste and rate 1 through 10. Definitely better than taco. Reminds me of the ham and cheese, and also better than ham and cheese. So I would say this fusion is successful. So far, all the recipes are really good. I'm gonna give this an 8.5. Another recipe from Georgia. Caroline Morrison is introducing us to the breakfast casserole. It seems easy enough. Just bread pieces, sausage, bacon, cheddar cheese, and 1 dozen eggs. I'm not gonna do that, probably only 1 or 2. Bake at 350 for 25 minutes. Serve with tobacco. I guess her dad makes this dish. So just as I said before, I'm gonna repeat it. We have bread pieces, pepperoni, sausage, egg, heavy cream, mix it into the solid ingredients and pour it into a baking dish. 350 for 30 minutes, and it smells just like the quiche pizza thing we made earlier. Considering the ingredients we use, this is pretty much a deconstructed Emma's grandma's off the meds pie. If we describe the last one as a frittata, this one is more of a bread pudding. The eggs got completely soaked into the bread, so it doesn't have that scrambled eggs texture, but it's really dense, so I don't really enjoy it as much. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Sarah from somewhere on the East Coast is teaching us how to make a fantastic chicken. There are only 4 ingredients and it seems pretty straightforward. We're starting with 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I'm just gonna pull 1 chicken breast out of this pack. Again, before I have full trust towards the recipe, I'm not gonna waste too much ingredients, you know? I don't feel like slicing it with a knife because I have to wash the cutting board and stuff, so I'm just gonna cut it with a pair of scissors. For the sauce that goes directly on top, we're doing apricot preserves and equal part Russian dressing. I've had neither of those, so I don't know what they taste like. In addition to those, we're also doing some your sister sauce. It just looks like a marmalade type of thing. It actually tastes pretty good, like a mixture of orange chicken sauce and Chick-fil-A sauce. You really shouldn't be doing this step because the first 20 minutes of baking is just salt and pepper and nothing on top. But it's not too late, we'll just cover it with foil and into the oven for 20. We'll check on it later. After 20 minutes, they are looking so gross. It's starting to look like a biology experiment or something. So let's brown it in the sauce we made earlier, put it back in the oven and hope for the best. 30 minutes later, it feels like my sister giving a second chance to her ex-boyfriend. Things only got worse. But hey, taken away from her dating philosophy, my culinary philosophy is that I'll put anything to my mouth. Many of us moved out of the comfort of our family. We no longer have the constant access to our favorite meals. To still get good quality food with minimal stress, let me introduce you to Factor meals. Factor sets you up for success. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted 50 canoe at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. Way out there. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Hey, you know what's crazy?
But that's like his 3rd roll.
Oh yeah.
Now you can start with dessert.
Or how about soup? You know what's crazy?
And we finally get a chance to slow down.
Yeah, we get our food so fast.
Crazy.
I'm actually very excited about this next one. Andrew from North Carolina is bringing us the family all-purpose cobbler dump cake recipe. You got a dump or you got a cake. Apparently it's very versatile. 20 to 30 ounces of whatever fruit you want. I guess they usually do blueberries or peaches and mix this together and just pour it all over. Seems simple. Here we have probably a little more than 30 ounces of blueberries. I don't wash my fruits, not because I'm lazy, but because I'm a loving and trusting person. In another bowl, we'll mix in half a cup of sugar, half a cup of butter, and half a cup of self-rising flour, which I think is just AP flour with some baking powder. So it's not really self-rising per se, it's just like me, it needs the help of chemicals. Finally, we'll mix in half a cup of milk. We gotta take out a real tool to put this all together. Now we'll pour the batter all over. This is supposed to be a satisfying shot. I don't know why it's unfocused. And shimmy the batter a little bit. You really shouldn't touch it. I'm just evenly distributing. Now we'll just put it in 375 for an hour. That was very nice. The result that actually looks really amazing. I'm really proud of how it looks. Let's see what you guys think.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton.
Does this look like a blueberry pie or what? The self-rising flour kind of expands and you get crispy on top. If this goes well, I'm gonna start making this like every week. I'm not lying when I say that this tastes better than a store-bought blueberry pie. The blueberries completely broken down into syrup at the bottom. The batter bakes into a cake and soaks it all up. And on the top, it gets a little crispy and flaky like pie. The flavors of the fruit really shine through is that 1 + 1 is bigger than 2 situation. I'm gonna give this a 9.7 out of 10. Thank you so much for showing me this. You guys have to try it. I can't wait to try this with different fruits like apple and peaches. Next two recipes from Germany. The first one, Julia or Jewel. She claims that she's German, so of course her recipe is potatoes. Are Germans known for having potatoes? I feel like it's more of an Irish or a Russian thing. And then the main ingredient is pork, frosted duck. They go pork. You make a dough and then you fry it. Starting with 375 grams of boiled potato from last night. It has to be from the day before, like fried rice. Otherwise it won't lose the moisture and dry up to come to a cohesive dough. 40 grams of butter, 250 grams of Sonic Corp, which is just cream cheese I guess. 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of sugar. I'm using powdered sugar here because I have too much. Use some lemon rind if you're feeling fancy. I never feel fancy. And raisin if I'm evil. I am evil but I don't have raisins. So this pretty much is the dough, which we'll combine with the liquid fork. In a burning hot pan, we'll drizzle room temperature water. Shape the dough into patties and just fry them on medium heat. This rarely happens. It doesn't stick to the pan, but it sticks to the spatula. We'll flip it over to cook it some more. Most of the ingredients are already cooked, so we're just heating it up at this point. That's pretty easy. If you don't tell me, I'll think they're failed fluffy pancakes. So let's give it a taste and rate it on 15. I just forgot, Julia told us to dust it with cinnamon sugar. I'm just gonna do cinnamon because it's already sweet enough. It's really good. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like a juicy pancake. You know the struggle of when you go to brunch and they serve you really dried up pancakes, so you have to use a lot of spit and reminds you of last night? This is like a warm, buttery, fluffy pancake with then cinnamon to another level. You guys are hitting me with all these great recipes. This other German one from Ben, a lot of seeds in it. Caraway and mustard. Lucky for me, I actually have seeds on hand, but it's not caraway, so this is good. Before you judge me, I know most of you don't even know what the only caraway I know is caraway and Great Gatsby, and it's super annoying. Once my seeds are popped, then I'm gonna stroke my sausage in. In reverse. We'll saute a little bit and pour in 1 cup of heavy cream, macaroni, and some milk. So Ben told us we're not supposed to stir it at all. Just cook the pasta until you hear crackling from the bottom. That seems rather risky, so I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Here we have an almost dried up, crackling from the bottom, mac and seeds. Looks like a pasta salad.
Looking to pursue a career as an aviation technician? A Universal Technical Institute.
It looks like a pasta salad. It's actually really good. It reminds me of a risotto. It's perfectly cooked but kind of dry at the same time. It has a lot of flavor and creaminess, and the seeds adds a lot of aroma to it. Still, I prefer normal pasta. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. So, this person from Punjab's grandmother is known for dal pitti, so like a lentil soup. We're taking half a cup of red lentil and half a cup of yellow lentil. Well, guess what? When you put that together is 1 full cup of green lentil. He told us to wash it 3 times. Once again, I'm a loving, trusting person. I'm just gonna put it in like this. To make it, we're gonna start by heating up some oil. I'm going with my never-ending duck fat. Toasting some cumin up. Once you smell the fragrance, you put in half a sliced onion, some chopped ginger, and tomatoes. Fry that a little bit. Add some garam masala. I'm using Japanese curry powder, and then mix in the lentils from earlier. Once all the ingredients are heated, we'll just fill water until it goes over it. Everything's happening in this pot. We'll just cover and simmer till the lentils are cooked. 20 minutes later, we're going to improve the texture by adding and stirring in a little bit of butter, and the heat should be off at this point, by the way. I never choose to have lentil soup, but it smells really good. Besides the texture kind of tastes like my throw up from last week, it's very flavorful. I was a little concerned about the ginger, but it works really well. I wish it had bacon in it or something. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. A dessert from Hyderabadi. That's where the biryani is from, right? Sheikh's family calls it a sheer kurma. It's a festive dessert. It looks very complicated. I'm actually curious to how it tastes. A lot of nuts required for this recipe. I'm a little low right now, so I'm just gonna use cashew, pecans, and walnuts. I'm really not a big fan of nuts in desserts, with the exception of hazelnut. Hazelnut. Our second ingredient is rice, and I'm supposed to spread it with butter. It reminds me of a white chocolate feel. Oh my god, this thing flies everywhere. We'll stir fry a little bit, set aside. Bring it to a simmer to condense the milk a little bit. Then we're gonna close the mixture from the I just realized we're supposed to put some dry fruits in this and I actually have a box of dates in my cabinet. I totally forgot. But it's alright, we're just gonna do it without dates. That's how I did it for the first 19 years of my life. I'm not complaining. The concept of dessert soup needs to register in my head a little more. It tastes like a heated up cereal, so 4 out of 10. Hey, from Tunisia's family always make cardage balls. They also call it almond balls. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty much just 3 ingredients that we gotta mix together. 200 grams of almond flour, 50 grams of powdered sugar, and half a cup of water. Dust it. I didn't even know Poland was part of the EU. Real stupid. A lot of you in our community are from there, so I'm always up to learn more Polish. I made the potato ones last Christmas and topped it off with the sour cream and caviar action. Why are these rather than the oil will add some garlic, onion. Martin also asked we'll saute all the aromatics seeds. Frying out some flour directly into the pan as a roux to thicken it, and then some homemade high-end chicken stock. Give it a stir, let it simmer. I wish there was a little bit more color to this, but the flavor was a blue on that top. But it tastes way better than it looks. The parsley root adds some freshness. Totally can sleep on it. Unfortunately, I use beef. Time is not enough. Without that being considered, this is definitely an Slavic. Staying in the general Slavic region, marijuana from North Macedonia. Picture over here. Any chance to see a picture of the whole plate next time? It's very easy and fun. Dip in toast, heat up some butter and fry till both sides are golden. It's pretty much an unflavored French toast on top of give it a taste and really want to see. I feel like I get sick from the egg mixing syrup, and this one it's very low effort. And in the Slavic ground on the Russian soup called solin. I know about this soup. It's made of pickle and it's a myth among Russian children that they don't behave. The cucumber from the soup is going to crawl out at night and give it. Starting with sauteing some sausage and some smoked sausage, and then replacing with ground unseasoned beef sausage. Then we'll lightly brown some diced onion, tomato sauce, pickle slices, and some leftover steak. Recipe called for boiled beef, but I think this is better. Again, topping that off with some homemade premium chicken stock. We'll simmer for 5 and then let it sit for 15 minutes. Pretty unsure about boiled pickles, but if it's a cucumber, I have to take it down. Let's go with the Slavic way of topping it with sour cream. Mix that up with the oats a little bit, let's slurp it up. Not as sour as I expected, pretty balanced flavor. And not a Chinese studying the egg, suggesting as a on TikTok. It doesn't really look referring to either a crispy caramelized soggy dip to more of a bread pudding. I'll try my best to imitate them by laying down 3 pieces of flour. Soak in some heavy cream. Make sure you get the bottom of it. So fry up the surface for a while. Honey and let's caramelize it. Should be heavy cream makes it very jiggly on the inside. like a compromised French toast. But this does give me the idea. After I put on the maple syrup, I'm gonna put it back in the pan to fry. Honey toast I made today. To make sure that you guys know I'm not just making this stuff up, I'm gonna show you the original recipe. Oliver's finished grandma recipe is that it's a straightforward recipe. Onions, garlic cloves, salt, this was used as a medicine for cold. First of all, I didn't know Finnish people get cold. Second of all, I'm so glad modern chemists. As you can tell from the colors, it tastes pretty good. It tastes like, don't call me crazy, a French onion soup, but a little better. Forget about hot cocoa on a cold day. Remember that onion? Okay. That was, but I'm assuming is yellow. It looks like he's saying, eat these corn and oatmeal while I feast on filet mignon, peasants. I milk it in terms of water, some salt, and put it in a container to store in the fridge over there. Heat up a hot pan with a lot of butter. Just put that whole until like the bits get brown. Melita's grandma usually have this for breakfast with a little bit of coffee, and that's how we're gonna enjoy it now. From this morning, see the taste. It's a lot of taste, but it makes me feel like I'm one of those strong men in the past creating cookies. The sausage on there gets really crispy, so I feel like you either need a sausage gravy or some jam on it. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. This recipe already got me excited. The first step is for me to put the banana straight up fried. Banana slices well coated with sugar and potato dropped in. In less than 5 minutes, they should be after dusting the powdered sugar, and for some reason it's sticking to the powders are edible anyways. Gotta get some dietary fiber in. This ain't times better. The bananas better cooked through, it becomes almost like a jam, a custard of some sort, perfectly accompanying the outer shell. Brown sugar coating, caramelizing itself during the frying process. You don't even need to make a separate caramel sauce to go with it. To give me a knife, it has sugar in it. Really good. Maria from Spain is inspired by my videos because she's also a walking cooking disaster. Hey, I'm not a cook. You know what I really am. From southern Spain, and there's a dish called gachamiga. On paper it seems like a Spanish tortilla, but it's actually a potato pancake. Whenever I spend money on gold potatoes, they always turn green. We'll cut into chunks and fry them like grease. Better. Lick the fork tender. We'll take it out of the oil and straight into a frying pan. Now off camera, I also mix the batter of flour, water, and salt. Just keep adding water until the consistency looks like an egg. Okay, either the potato pieces are too big or I don't have enough. The pan seems a little empty. Let's put my skill to the test and flip this pancake. Oil got on now. This sort of looks like a 3D map of a portion of the Yellowstone Park. Maria's family usually eats it with lamb chop. There's no eggs in it. I expected the dough to be like really dense and stuff, but it's surprisingly bouncy. I can totally see how it tastes great wrapped around a piece of lamb chop. I'm gonna give it an 8.7. Potato chunks need to be smaller and there should be more of them. George from Greece over here wants me to make a fried Greek pie called kaletsunia. Here's the recipe for the dough. I really don't feel like making another dough today, so I'm just gonna use a replacement. Some spring roll wrapper and feta cheese from 2 months ago. If it go bad, it sounds nice, but I feel like it's brine, so it's preserved in a way. Let me know in the comments then. got sugar, deep fried, and then almond fried. Alright, so on this channel, this is automatic noise. Amelia, Jorgen, Uruguay, Paraguay is sharing 4 ingredient recipe involving a yuca fruit. I've never had yuca, I've only had taro, ube, but I'm very fascinated by South American taste. I've heard there are more than 900 species. The world originated in Peru. Literally a piece of wood. We'll cut the yuca into small pieces with cold water and boil it for 20 minutes. When they're almost done, we'll heat up butter and start sauteing them. They become pretty tender and start opening themselves up from the center. It's kind of gross looking, but it tastes pretty good. We'll dump everything into the onions, saute a little bit, season with salt and pepper, and now we'll beat 2 eggs and pour in. At this point, we can start improvising. Whether you want an omelet or scrambled eggs is all up to you. I have the heat on high, I'm just gonna stir it a little bit. I think I'm gonna do like a potato omelet type of thing. After flipping, I think I'm gonna...
The perfect morning calls for the perfect, ridiculously Jimmy Griddle cake. Your family's pancakey, sausage, griddle cakey, sweet and savory favorite.
Just the juicier potato scrambled eggs. Instead of the typical starchy I'm a little concerned, but since we're so impressed by the onion milk from earlier, I'm gonna refrain my judgment and give this a serious consideration. Basically, we gotta shred some chicken, wash it, and then turn it into a pudding. I'll show you what I mean. Here's my boiled chicken breast, which I constantly have in the fridge just for a quick protein fix. Don't worry about this coagulated white stuff on top. The other day, I tried to open a bottle of ranch and it spilled over. The inside's a little pink, but we're cooking it later, so this is just another thing not to worry about. I'll shred it as thinly as possible and then fill it with water, soak for 24 hours. The next day, we'll take the shredded breast out, squeeze, and then change to water. We'll repeat this step a couple times. Now we'll move on to the pudding mixture. We'll do 1 cup of sugar, half a cup of cornstarch, half a cup of rice flour, and a cup of water. Mix everything together with the ligma fork till combined. Moving to the stove, in a pot we'll pour in a whole liter of milk. When it's starting to boil, we're mixing the starch mixture. And we'll continue to whisk it and scrape the bottom to get the coagulated pudding up to the surface. Eventually it's gonna look very thick like this. Now, let me just emphasize that what I'm about to do is not my original idea. This is a recipe sent by one of you. I'm just following instructions. Plus, I've always said I'll try everything twice. We gotta keep an open mind. Anyways, we're adding all the chicken breast pieces into the pudding mixture and start heating. Now we'll flavor it with some dessert MSG. It's starting to look like a biohazard, but when it comes to simmer again, we'll take it off the heat, put it in a container, into the fridge, and rest another night. I'm starting to suspect that all this waiting and effort won't be worth the final result, but let's wait and see. Alright everybody, the moment of truth here. It's like really creamy still. I was expecting it to be more set. Alright, I gotta dust it all over with cinnamon. Now it just kinda looks like a tiramisu. And that's how I'm gonna approach it. It's just the extra protein anabolic tiramisu. Just gotta close my mouth and